known this was the case and had someone said to me, "Do you want to say something else because this is your final conversation with your father?" I'm not sure that I would have said anything different. I wouldn't have known what I was supposed to say. Likewise, if someone had said to me, "What would you like to be doing when your father dies?" I would not have said, "I would like to be looking for love on OkCupid." But I did not have the luxury to make that decision. Who does? I'd like to tell you in my last conversation with my father, I said I loved him. Though the truth is, I do not remember. The truth is that this was not a thing we said to each other very often over the phone, my father and I, or anyone in our immediate family. It was just not our usual practice, though my father did sign all of his emails and texts that way. I'm waiting in the car outside the train station. Love, Dad. I didn't know that we would not speak again, but I did take a screenshot of our faces in that final call. His the size of the screen, mine small in the lower right-hand corner. In the screenshot, our faces looked alike. Our love for each other was something, I have to believe, that my father and I both knew and trusted. The apartment in Clinton Hill was not the best apartment that I'd seen. The living room didn't have any windows. The walls were painted a shade that could well have been called Charlotte Perkins Gilman yellow. The building was only about 100 feet from the Brooklyn-Queens Expressway. It was far from the subway that I needed to take to work. In time after I moved in, I would also learn that the apartment was full of mice, and that the tarmac handball court across the way doubled as an open-air drug market after dark. But it was the apartment that the real estate agent had shown me with the fewest stairs to the front door. I chose it because I'd imagined that my father would be able to come with my mother to visit me in my new home in Brooklyn before he died. I'd imagined that he'd be able to climb those few stairs. In the morning of the day he died, my father and I had finally come to a resolution. We'd had an email exchange in which I agreed to tell the agent that it was not necessary for my dad to release his full tax returns, that no one should really make you release your full tax return under any circumstances. I had agreed that he was correct. In the last email he sent me, my dad wrote back, "Great, love, Dad." I smiled. That morning, before or after we exchanged these emails, my father had also written another email to his doctor saying his abdominal pain was getting worse, that he was really not feeling well at all. The doctor said she was very sorry to hear that and suggested some new pain relief options, but she did not suggest that he go to the hospital. Maybe this was for the best. My father's body had been broken by the cancer, by its spread, and if the doctor had suggested that my father should go to the hospital when he reported his pain, then perhaps he would not have died at home with my mother by his side, which is what happened that night while I was looking for love on OkCupid. My father tried to eat dinner, and then he told my mother that he was really not feeling well, and then he stood up from the easy chair where he had been spending most of his days for the last few weeks, and then he collapsed and died in the wooden floor in the space between the dining area and the family room. His heart. It ruptured. I was told there was a lot of blood. At that moment, when my father died, I was tucked under a duvet on a mattress on the floor. I had sublet the basement apartment unfurnished and had not yet acquired a bed frame. It seemed like a bad idea to own much until I had a more permanent place for my stuff. That winter, the winter of 2014, there was a weather pattern that had been diagnosed as a polar vortex, and a draft blew from where the air conditioner was installed in the wall to where my mattress was, a draft that could only be stopped by an air conditioner cover that no longer existed. I was wearing American Apparel winter leggings and a thermal shirt and a thick handmade cream-colored winter hat with a pom-pom. I'd bought the hat for €50 from a shop with clean white edges a few doors down from the apartment building where I lived in Berlin. I felt cozy and content. It was the first time I had felt either of these feelings for some time. On the OkCupid profile I built that night, I put up a photo I'd taken of myself standing by the window in the apartment in Berlin that I had moved out of a few weeks earlier. I'd filtered the photo in black and white to make me look younger and more pretty. I put up another photo of me standing in front of a graffiti-covered swan boat in an abandoned Berlin amusement park, where I had gone with some friends to celebrate my 32nd birthday. I put up a third photograph of me holding my friend's dog in my lap while he was wearing a medical cone around his neck, so that it looked like I was holding a dog's head in a martini glass. I hoped that the photos represented the kind of person that I was, or who I wished to be. Youngish, prettyish, an appreciator of things that are a little bit absurd, a lover of dogs. In the space for self-description, I wrote something about how I was new to New York, an ex-expat, a person who had not lived in the United States since the late 90s, a time traveler from the Clinton years. I did not note the reason that I had returned to New York. I did not write, I came back because